Board of Offer, I'd like to welcome you here tonight, and I'd like to introduce our speaker tonight. His name is Colin Gates. He is a fabulous Tai Chi instructor. I have had the privilege of being in his class for the last 6 weeks or so, and I highly recommend him and his advice. So I'll turn the time over to Colin.
Thank you. Some water. Thank you. My name is Colin Gates. I teach Tai Chi, Chen style. The genealogy has evolved. There's a big study involved in that. But I've studied a whole bunch of different forms, and I keep coming back to the Chen because it's most effective. And how I know it's most effective is because I've got a background in exercise physiology and physical education, growth and development, kinesiology, biomechanics, and all kinds of related fields. And if you take a look at the structures of the body and you compare what we do in some sports and what we do with Tai Chi, you find that Tai Chi is really quite conducive to healing and helping the body move in a way it's designed to move. Tai Chi, for all intents and purposes, is no. Let me back up. Tai Chi Chuan is what's really called, and it derives from a study called the 13 Techniques. 13 Techniques was developed by Bodhidharma, who went from India up to northern China to the Shaolin Temple, and he was working with the monks, teaching them some meditation, and he noticed that because they were living sedentary lives, they were getting quite unhealthy, overweight, dying young. And so he decided he was going to try and get some movement involved in their lives, and he watched animals in nature. And he noticed a few things about animals in nature, that they're often moving for hunting or self-preservation or defense. And he basically instituted a few different moves and then added to them and changed things. And over the years after he left, these moves were made more combative. The monks found out that they needed to protect themselves and they didn't have weapons. So with the animal movements and the Qi trying to develop, or the movement itself trying to develop Qi, or movement of energy, or energy itself, Tai Chi was formed. And all the other martial arts came from Tai Chi. Tai Chi is the original martial art. And when I start talking about martial arts from a Tai Chi perspective, I lose some people, and some people get scared. I don't want to do martial arts. And I have to tell you that anyway, because this is the beginning of Tai Chi. Tai Chi began with animal movements, meditation, and an attempt to get people to live healthier and longer. Foundation for Tai Chi and Qigong is breathing. There's two parts to the breathing technique. One is you have to have your feet planted. And you can move forward and your heels come up, you move back, your toes come up, that's not good. You've got to have your feet planted, knees bent, toes pointing in the same direction as your knees, because your knees bend only one way. You can look at the structure of the knee and see that it moves. Well, the knee isn't moving, it's the ankles. The knee only moves this way, it's just a hinge. So in the form, we have a number of stances. Horse riding stance, literally horse riding stance. And with Tai Chi, you can go really low, or you can go high, and it all depends on your conditioning. If you come and watch some of the classes, and you see people in China out in the parks, or even around here, you see people in the parks. Sometimes they're almost just walking, and they're still doing their movements, they're still doing their stances, and they might move, and then establish themselves in a horse riding stance. And a horse riding stance is very stable in this direction. It's hard to push somebody over from the side here, but you don't have much stability this way. And if you develop stability in your Tai Chi form, and you root and you breathe with your abdomen, your lower lung, abdominal breathing, you learn to generate Qi. And when you learn to generate chi, you discover that you can control chi. And if you can control chi, you do a lot of things with the chi, the energy. There are different kinds of chi. You sometimes, when you get started, you might feel heat in your palms or cool. That's sort of internal resistance to the actual flow of the chi. The real Tai Chi is when you feel an electromagnetic field around you. And it expands and you feel beyond yourself. So in Tai Chi, we learn to move naturally with the body. And when you do that and you don't lock the joints up, the chi flows. If you were to look at reflexology and acupuncture, acupressure charts, you would see that there's there's these points all along these channels. And these channels, if you lock up a joint, that blocks the flow of that chi through that channel. It might be the right heel channel up to your gallbladder or whatever it is, whichever channel you pick. But when you lock up a joint, you lock up the flow of blood, you lock up the flow of the lymphatic fluid, and you lock up the flow of the chi. So Tai Chi does a couple of things. It deals with chi, and if you can't get to the chi, you can't feel the chi, you don't believe in it, it doesn't matter. It flows, it does it anyway, if you do it right. But from just a superficial standpoint, Tai Chi deals with the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is a system that's generally misunderstood and not really known at all. The lymphatic system is the energy delivery system, and it's the waste removal system. And what I've discovered, I have a number of ladies at another place I teach. They all have fibromyalgia, and everything hurts. You touch them and they hurt. I can't go up to them and say, "Okay, relax the shoulders." I can go close and say, "Relax," but I don't dare touch them because everything hurts, and it's because their lymphatic system gets jammed up. And the waste doesn't flow out. When you get waste sitting, it turns to acid. And we find that people that are sick are having an acidic environment, an acidic makeup solution. So Tai Chi, if you just take a look at it from just the plain tactile movements of it, it starts to move this lymphatic fluid. We've got our oxygen delivery system and carbon dioxide removal, that's the blood and the hormones. But your lymphatic system has as many vessels or more that deliver food to each and every cell. And then it takes the waste away. So I'm going to show you a form that, or a Qigong. Qigong is energy exercise. I'm going to show you an energy exercise that we do a little bit in class, and we can reverse it. And we did this today. We can reverse it for CFS, muscular dystrophy, and fibromyalgia, and other related conditions. It's also good for arthritis. And the reason it's good for a lot of these, physiologically speaking, is because a lot of activity happens right in the joints of the long bones especially. And when you've got flow in those joints, you don't restrict the expulsion of waste material. So, if you want to join me and do this, feel free. We're going to step out in what we call a horse riding stance. And depending on your hips, how limber you are in your hips, you can stand relatively relaxed or you can go really long. The goal of Tai Chi is to live well and live long. So we want to be able to live well and live long. We want to be able to have our movements with us. We want to be able to move. So we're in a horse riding stance, and I'll just take a more relaxed stance. Feet parallel. If you slip and fall, the knees bend that way. That's where your toes are. Land the toes and the knees up, and the hips and the shoulders, everything in this direction. If you just turn this way and you fall, you put strain on the knee. Not good for the knee. Not good for the hip either. So, horse riding stance, we're going to learn to breathe with our lower abdomen. Our lower lung. So I want you to just press your stomach against your spine and exhale. Push all the air out you can. And let go. Did you feel your abdomen expand? That's your lower lung filling. We don't use our lower lung in the Western civilization that much. What we do here is we breathe with the upper lung. And we stick our butt out and we, very good. Okay, let it relax. The lower lung, if you increase, upper lung, a little bit of a lung here, two sides, and then the middle part, and then your lower lung is basically a skirt attached to your diaphragm, and your diaphragm is a muscle. That muscle is attached to your ischial crest in the front of your hip, and when that muscle contracts, it shortens, like any muscle. And it pulls the diaphragm down, and it pulls the lower lung down, and it expands the lower lung. And in that process, you increase your oxygenation 20 to 30%, depending on how good you are. So let's do that again. Exhale. Inhale. That's your lower lung. And if you do that for the rest of your life, you'll increase your oxygenation for whatever you do. If you're doing hard physical, like hard kung fu or external martial arts or any real muscular oriented exercise, it's hard to breathe with your lower lung. And if you can do it, better oxygenation. Tai Chi and Qigong, we don't use the muscles. We use them minimally. Okay, you can't stand without using muscles, but we're just not going to use them that much. We're lazy. So if I breathe deeply and I'm rooted, and I increase my oxygenation, where does that oxygen go if it's not going to your muscles? Right? Joints, organs, yes. So people die of organ failure, not muscle failure. We're going to reverse that. We're going to get a little bit more yin, or soft, cool energy into our bodies, and it goes to the organs and the joints. If you've got the joints moving properly, you learn to walk, you're not going to fall. You can't get hurt. So, deep breathing. Horse riding stance, exhale. Inhale. Do that a few times. Just feel your lower lung breathe. Tongue at the roof of your mouth. Breathe through the nose only. Knees bent, hips forward. It's good posture. Good, good. I'm always looking at people's hips and knees. Get your hips forward. Okay. I want you to press that air out again. Bring your hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, relax. Don't do this. In the one of our Qigongs, we inhale up the arm and we exhale. Okay? Qigong for CFS, fibromyalgia, and those conditions, arthritis, and I had muscular dystrophy 10 years ago. Those conditions, we do the opposite. So the normal way we do it for Qigong is like that. Then we go lightly. And then we go no touch and stay about an inch away. And what you're trying to do is feel the energy. Feel this. Make a connection between this as it moves over your arm and your hand and your palm and everything. And start to feel energy flow around you. So, and we can feel our own energy really easy. And you can feel the heat. If you want to generate heat, you can do that and send it in your arm, or you can send cool. Or you can pick up heat and pick up cool. For CFS in these conditions, we go the other way. So we start here. We go. Exhale. Inhale. Stay about an inch away. And if you feel your hands getting big, electromagnetic field, there's something happening, that's what you want. So with the fibromyalgia ladies, we start here. Make sure your knees are bent, breathing through your nose, deep breathing. Now we lightly, and it doesn't hurt. You go, oh, it's not so bad. And if you've got movement of chi, you've got movement of your lymphatic fluid. But when you press a little harder, if you can do it, if it doesn't hurt. If it hurts, one of the postulates we live by in Tai Chi is no pain, no pain. I love it. You can press a little harder, you are actually moving that lymphatic fluid, and you're cleaning out that acid buildup. Right there, if you look at a cell, the interstitial fluid, the fluid around each and every individual cell. Sometimes the cells don't have movement, there's no flow, and that fluid that sits there turns acidic. If you take a glass of water and set it on a table, leave it overnight, in the morning it'll be acidic. More acidic. So we want flow. In Tai Chi, oftentimes we do this with the upper arms. Press the lower gone cavity, loosen it up. This channel goes from here to points, a couple points here in the shoulders, over to the heart. This one goes from here to this point, the lower gone cavity. All kinds of points in the arms, shoulders, over to the liver. So we press the lower gone cavity, that activates that channel, the flow of chi there. We can rub here. If it hurts, you don't do that. And all this activates this channel, these channels. So that's that one Qigong you can do. You can do that sitting in a chair. You can do that walking down the street. You can do that standing, pardon my back, you can do that standing in line at the post office. I did something similar today. When I'm standing in line at the post office, I deep breathe. When I'm sitting and watching television, I plant my feet. I sit forward in the chair so that I'm not encumbered in my abdominal area. And I breathe deep. And I might do this. I might do a different Qigong. Showing another Qigong that's really good for headaches. It's good for the CFS, fibromyalgia, and related conditions. So, we're back in the horse riding stance. Breathe deep, tongue at the roof of your mouth, rooting, hips forward. Squeeze your butt cheeks just a bit to tilt your hips forward, because that opens that channel. The lower dantian is right in the middle of your diaphragm, that muscle. And so every deep breath you take activates that. And this diaphragm, Qigong, central point, this energy nexus or energy field point, like the Chinese call it, is right in this, what we call the conception channel. It's related to a whole bunch of water organs. And in that point there, it connects to this governing channel that comes up all the way up here, in the roof of your mouth. And now you know why we put the tongue up there. The tongue connects that channel to this channel that goes right back to the lower dantian. Some people feel the benefits of Tai Chi, Qigong real fast, and some don't. Usually when I have children in classes and they can settle themselves down a bit, or they have a little bit of self-discipline, I've seen children just get heat like so hot immediately, or feel it. Some of them are really, really there. We get all westernized. We forget about connecting this with this. And so that's what we do. We use the breathing technique, abdominal breathing or the lower lung breathing, to connect the subconscious with the conscious. And the reason we do that is because we want to be able to think what's going on and find out and fix it. So, the breathing, we can let it happen on its own, and it's an autonomic nervous function, or we can control it. And if we control it and moving meditation, we basically do connect the subconscious with the conscious. Takes work, a lot of work, but you can do it. So, we are in the horse riding stance. I'm going to show you another stance. And something else you can do to help your joints. If you're looking at me, I'll have you just turn your right toe about 45 degrees. Turn your hips, your shoulders, and look at that line your foot is making. Make sure the knee lines up there, and that everything about you is focused in that same direction, not right on that line, but parallel. We call that the bow arrow stance or the forward leaning stance. stance. So there, it's not moving. It's okay.
It's still there.
That's forward leaning stance or bow arrow. It's a more solid, stable position. You've got, if you get movement this way, you've got a broad base this way. And for this way, you've got a broad base that way. If you're standing on one toe, that's a very small base of support. So we want to have a broad base of support, and we want to learn to treat, because we're doing moving meditation and deep breathing, we want to get the chi, the lymphatic fluid, and the oxygen flowing to a certain spot. So let's pick a knee. All we're going to do is move forward and back. Forward and back. And everything we do in Tai Chi, in Qigong, is related to that. If you have an injury, say you've injured your knee, and you go and do 1,000 of these, that'll strengthen that knee. All that flow, minuscule as it may seem, minuscule as it actually is, will help heal that joint. So in Tai Chi, everything we do, from all the Qigong, for the first little bit of the class, to the actual form, you'll see we move from a bow arrow stance, a horse riding stance, to a bow arrow stance in various ways. Might draw back into a cat stance, and then go back to the bow arrow. And everything in this moving meditation is designed to help the joints, feed the organs, and help you live long and healthy lives. The first line of the 13 techniques, the precursor to Tai Chi, is don't underestimate the 13 techniques. Lesson right there. The second line is the source of life is at the waist. And it really is. Once you learn to move and line everything up in all your movements, even if you just learn to do the Tai Chi walk, if you slip and you're in this position, how stable are you? Where are you going to fall? You can't fall in this position. You've got a broad base this way, this way. The only way is this way. You're not that stable, but you got that toe there. So we move. We learn to move and treat the joints and get oxygen to the organs. I'm going to just show you a couple of movements and how they'll, how they all go together, and how we move from one stance, one stable position to another. Okay, so first thing we do in Tai Chi is we bow, keep our heads forward, keep looking straight ahead. Now you can't move with straight legs, so we always have our knees bent, and as we straighten up from this bow, we bend our knees a little bit more. Transfer your weight to one leg, and keep your other leg down for balance. Step left. Now look at how you step. Your feet are planted and you're firm. You're solid. Feet completely down. Sometimes you have a tendency to curl the toes. Don't. Flatten them out. And then relax. So, pick up the earth. Feel the coolness of the earth. What we try to do with Tai Chi and Qigong is more than just imagine. We try to elicit a real physical response in the body from just movement and thinking movement. Okay? When I do this, when I even just think of this, my hands, I feel the energy right around my hands immediately. Just right now. I can walk down the street and just go, and there's the energy. And it's just, if you just do the things, it just happens. Okay? I'm no genius. So, let's start again. Okay, we're in a stance with a small base of support. We're not going to stay here long. And it's just the beginning. A formality almost. Bend the knees, step left. Okay, well, we're in the horse riding stance. Pick up the earth. Feel that coolness of the earth. Turn it over. Feel the weight fall out of your hands. You want to feel these things. You want to be able to feel the air. It's actually not the air. It's not the dirt, the earth you're feeling. It's the energy. You're starting to connect this with this and everything. Okay, let's do it again. Bow. Straighten up. Bend the knees. Step left. Pick up the earth. Turn over the earth. Let it fall. Relax. Look to your left. Look at your left foot. Turn the toes out 45 degrees. Turn your hips, shoulders. Now if you notice, you're in that bow arrow stance. You can move your hips forward, which moves your torso forward. Knee never goes past the toes, bad for the knee, and you're in a bow arrow stance. If you need to do that bow arrow stance for, say you're going to slip and fall, okay, you fell, you slipped. Look at that. That's a pretty good stance. And if you're limber and you've been doing Tai Chi for a while and you learn to treat the joints like organs, get them oxygenated, soften them up, you don't snap the joints. You don't snap. Pull the tendons off the bones. I've done that with both these muscles here. No fun. Couldn't pick up a pencil. We don't want to get like that. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to get like that. So we take our time. We start off, bow, horse riding stance, turn, move forward a bit. There you go. After a while, you go a little further, and then you realize, wow, I'm really getting limber. I'm really getting flexible. I'm really getting. Three things are byproducts from Tai Chi. We don't teach martial arts until you get advanced and you want it, and we don't work on flexibility. But the three byproducts you get are, it becomes a martial art for you if you need it. If you learn to just do the form, things happen, and just situations may arise, and your body just naturally reacts. Okay. Flexibility is another byproduct, and I don't do flexibility. I don't do yoga, but I'm the most flexible guy I know. And it's because I've been doing this for 10 years, and all my students that have been at it for a while, they gain flexibility. And the third thing is agility. And agility is movement in space. So it's your ability to move well, securely, safely in space. So it's that big lunge instead of, difficult little steps because you got a bad knee or something, Now, three byproducts. And a life of enjoying Tai Chi. We really, when you get into the form and you enjoy it, you just live for the moment. You almost just enjoy standing and feeling that breath that one time. That was a different breath than I've ever taken in before in my life. That felt good. So the 13 techniques. Don't underestimate the 13 techniques. The source of life is at the waist. And at the very end, the last line is, what is the aim of Tai Chi Chuan? Health and vitality and eternal spring. And I'll end with that. Question?
Just to convey fluidity, you do the first form, just not to teach it, but just to show it.
You want to see some of the form?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I take this? I'm worried it'll fall. Yeah, I better take it off. I'll just do this. Does that just pull out? Does this just pull out? Or do I have to twist it?
There's a switch on the top.
Oh, all right. Bow. You already learned part of the form? You already know how to bow. Step. Pick a pattern. Lower the earth. This is the ancient Chinese pass me the football technique. Okay. This is what we call ward off or ping. Ping in Chinese, ward off, and this is very good for the immune system. I'll show you this one. It's a step, a sweep. Turn that foot so that angle. Maiden makes a circle in the pool, maiden makes another circle in the pool, and you move forward with your hips, which moves your knee up, and you expand. And the idea with this is you expand your whole system. And it makes you bigger, you take up more space so fewer things get to you. For martial arts application, you can probably see it's value there, but people that have problems with their immune system or they're unhealthy, take up this stance and just try it. You might want to just not go so far, Nice easy stand. Try not to roof your mouth. Breathe. Okay. 7 pounds of mortar. And just flow, you know? And we always go slow to start. That's about a quarter of it. There's a bit of kicking involved, a little bit. And you can kick, kick. You can do kick.
So what is the difference between Tai Chi and Qigong?
Tai Chi is an actual moving form. It's a form of set moves. Qigong can be a specific energy exercise. So this one, up over the head. Oh, I was going to show you that and I got sidetracked. Good for headaches. The sinus is in here. It's part of the lymphatic system. If you've ever had swollen glands, it's your lymphatic system. Okay? This helps with that. Helps with the drainage. If you go this way, it's good for headaches. If you massage the temples and go down, actually, you've got huge lymphatic vessels right in your throat here. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so is there a mix a lot of times with Tai Chi and Qigong moves? Do they go hand in hand or are they separate a lot? How's it usually practiced?
Not really. Most of the moves in Tai Chi can be used as a Qigong in and of itself. So this ward off, Peng, you find that in the form. It's 108, 104 move form, depending on how you count the moves. But we do Peng in the form quite a few times. And it's an effective thing in many ways. But if you just do this as a Qigong in and of itself, an energy exercise, it's good for your immune system. So as we do the form, we bow. As I bow, the skin on the back moves over my kidneys and it activates the kidneys. It's good for the kidneys. Straighten up, bend the knees, good for the knees, step. Good for the hips, knees, good for everything. When you settle, when you move sideways and settle in a horse riding stance, it's good for the spine. Good for the knee, good for the hips, good for when you push energy out this way, it's good for this mid-dog chin, mid-energy nexus, and all the related channels. There's your knee again, pain, back to the. So you can take a part of the form and do it as a Qigong if you like. Most of it is, well, in this form, almost everything is good.
When you teach, is it basically in one spot? Or do you move around quite a bit?
Yeah, there's a movement. We usually look at the building, in the room, start and do all the form moving this way, and then turn around and come back and right about where we started. So you need a little bit of space.
Because I took Tai Chi about 10 years ago, and then afterwards we took yoga. And so I don't remember hardly anything about Tai Chi because I was going to yoga.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that when we did it with Tai Chi, we moved quite a bit all the way around in all the forms till we came back.
Yeah, and different forms have different movements too. Some of the movements in some of the other forms are really conducive to the movement of chi. This one, there is movement, and that's why it's called moving meditation. What we want to do is be moving, living, because we don't live by standing. We live, we move, we walk, we do things. So we want to be able to do things, and the form moves and gets you through all kinds of mild stretching. So you activate probably every muscle and tissue in the body, really. That's the idea of Tai Chi.
We went to China,
Oh, did you?
and where we were staying, every time we went outside about 7 o'clock at night, it was at the edge of the park,
Mm-hmm.
and there was girls out there, and they would do Tai Chi for a little bit, and then they did things that they did when they were kids.
They were women, not girls.
Okay. So they were women doing things that they could do when they were girls.
Yeah, and they were.
And they had flexibility and. Okay.
It was really fun to watch. They were doing it to music.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It was fun. I have a question.
Yes.
I did just that little tiny bit. My knees started hurting. Will we just get over that? Or should
You worked too hard. If your knees hurt, you work a little bit. In Tai Chi, for the effect of Tai Chi and Qigong and the stuff I learned in athletic injuries in college, you have to work something. You have to work a joint. You have to work an injury to the point of pain. You don't go into pain. The body has a memory. Your mind and your body have a collective memory. You know when you've got an injury in your knee, and you know where that point is, and you know to stop before that point, don't you? So in Tai Chi, we put stress on the joints and on the tissues, but not distress. There's a big difference. And living is stress. Walking down the street is the kind of stress we want. You want to be able to walk well. So what you do is you don't work as hard. If you did this horse riding stance and that caused it, you do it here, where it's really not difficult or pain causing. And if that hurts, then you sit down and do it. And I have students that sit and do the form. And then they'll stand up and do a little bit. And then when they start to feel like, okay, I'm going to start to hurt again, they sit down. And over time, they do the whole form. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah, because no way you injure yourself in the class. We don't even like to go there. We're lazy. I tell my students, be lazy. Let your shoulders go. Relax. Enjoy life. Mary Ann has very serious fibromyalgia. She can't touch it. She can't. You can't touch it. 3 days. She gets a good feeling of this for 3 days. But she's doing that. And then she'll at work. She'll take 10 minutes, get on her break, and get out of the cameras. She likes tiger plays with the ball. Tiger plays with the ball is probably one that's really good for her. So that's her favorite. She does that. She does that on her own. She's good for it.
How about doing it in the shower?
Oh, super in the shower. If you got an injury, 5 minutes of cold on the shoulder, for example, get in the shower. Do some easy push-ins. Do water wheel. Do just this. Do ward off. Just stand there with the hot water on your shoulder. 5 minutes of cold, 30 seconds or a minute of heat, and nice easy movement will repair anything. Except this one. I've been working on this for years and I keep jamming.
What did you do to it?
Oh, I've dislocated and jammed that thing 100 times.
One of the benefits that comes from this is because he's had to work his way through pain. So he starts at the difficult end of the street. But Colin teaches every